think I'm gonna do tonight? You want to join in, ma'am? What'd you just say? Yeah, I'm about to kill
Yeah.
my mom.
I
I'm
mean,
inviting
she
everybody. It's
is
a
kind of
party.
like, she's just like, this is a perfect example, America, and all of our listeners of Love and Murder Tonight, a perfect example of America's dumbest criminals ever. So Antoinette called and hired a friend who knew both of them. She knew both Antoinette and her mother. I mean, there's nothing unusual with that. She asked the friend to kill her mother. That's the unusual part. Okay, so so they drove to meet now the friend and Antoinette. They drove to meet her cousin Eugene Smith. Okay, they asked the friend if he was willing to perform a hit for $20,000. Now we've got a lot of people involved at this point. Okay, we've got Eugene Smith, one of her cousins, right? We have the friend whose name remains anonymous. Okay, we've got Antoinette, and then we're going.
I'm sorry. Your word hits hilarious. Okay, continue.
Yeah, and stage left, I'm an actress. So stage left, we've got enters the cousin, Delaney, who's coming up, or Delano, who's coming up in just a second here. And so what they did was they said, Antoinette says, listen, well, actually, she did. Wait, she didn't say listen. She said, if you could perform the hit, I'm going to pay you. Matter of fact, let me pay you right now. I'll give you a down payment, like it's a down payment for a car. Antoinette paid him $10,000 in cash that she had earned from drug dealing. Oh, it gets deeper and juicier. This is the craziest story
Good
ever.
Lord.
Yeah, my gosh. Thanks, stepdad. Good job. And I hate to say that in the worst way. But yeah, so apparently, okay, he didn't tell me that part, but she earned money from, drug dealing. She must have been pretty good on her block because she had 10,000 extras, just stashed away. And she promised to pay him the remaining $10,000 after the job was complete. I mean, that's perfectly how do you say, this is a general scenario in a lot of these murder for hire plots. Yo, I'll give you $5,000 down today and then 2,500 more when this job is over, or 10,000 today and then $2 when you're done. Just text me when it's done. You know. So yeah, so she said when the job is complete, she'll. Oh, listen to this. So the remaining $10,000, I'm going to let you figure this one out, Kai. Where do you suppose the proceeds from the second payment is going to come from? I'm just going to give you one guess based on all of our murders so far, our research so far, your love of forensics, my love of forensics. Well, 11 murder forensics. So, what do you suppose that Antoinette's assuming and hoping she's going to get the rest of the money from after her mother's dead?
Oh, insurance.
Yep, bingo, you said it. That's it. So she says when the job is complete, I'll pay you the other $10,000 after the job's complete with proceeds from mom's from my mother's life insurance policy. Okay. Now on the day of the murder, her friend called once again. This infamous friend with no name. I mean, geez, like I said at the beginning of the show, I won't mention my stepdad's name to protect the innocent. But why are they protecting this petitioner? Why are you not saying who this person is? Because he's the one that pulled the trigger. We can't say his name. I don't get that.
I mean, the case isn't still ongoing, is it?
No, no, no.
Well, I don't know.
10 years.
I have
This
no
was,
idea.
this was 20 years ago, so no, 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 it's not. So her friend called. Her friend called Antoinette. Now imagine he's getting ready to go inside the house. So the friend called Antoinette to ask her, well, how am I supposed to get inside this house? Into Webb's house, Elizabeth Webb's house. Antoinette simply called her mother and told her to let her friend in. Ma, my friend so and so's here. Why don't you answer the door? Open the door. And mom's like, oh, is that Tony? Or is that
And I mean, your mom would let somebody in, because you're not expecting to get murdered.
right? And not to mention, I'm saying that I'm at Walmart, right? I'm at Walmart, and then I'm just gonna pick up, my fruity pebbles and maybe like a couple of hot dogs, packs of hot dogs and some chips or whatever, and then I'm going to be headed home. So just let him, wait for me, basically. Just wait for me. I'm on my way, right? And so, yeah, so she's like, hey, mom, let him in. When he arrived, she said that tell him that I will be over later, a little bit later, because I don't know if she was on her way, but she literally said when he arrived, that she would be over later. So then in the early morning hours, obviously she didn't show up. Is that safe to say? Why would she want to be anywhere near that home? Right? And so,
I mean,
you're at risk of prints, aren't you? Fingerprints, shoe prints, anything.
I mean,
I don't know. This is crazy. So yeah, so in the early morning hours.
I'm just waiting to hear more because I mean, you've already had crazy. I'm waiting for insane now.
Okay, well, I think this is definitely has already reached insanity, if you ask me. So in the early morning hours of November 18, 2000, he called Antoinette at her boyfriend's house. Listen to this. The husband was recently murdered in that same year. And she's already got a side piece. A new boy. No, that's not a side piece. And she's already got a new boyfriend. Wow.
Good Lord.
Wow, way to go. So, yeah, so he told Antoinette that the job was done and asked for payment. I mean, isn't that his job, is to ask for payment? Isn't that what hitmen do?
Yeah, but didn't she tell him after the insurance?
Yes, she did.
So
But
why is
apparently,
he there asking for payment? Did he not understand English?
no, because hitmen, that's what they do. They're desperate and they're not always going to be in compliance. When the job is done, they felt like I did a huge job for you. I did a huge favor for you. Where is my money? I don't want to hear no. I don't want to hear
A
later.
murder is a favor? Good Lord.
Well, I mean, it is a favor because a lot of times when you watch these shows, they'll say, "I need you to do me a favor. I need you to knock somebody off," or well, anyway, he did the job. He did the job. So now Antoinette felt really sick. Later that morning, she called her cousin. Once again, she's bringing somebody else into this whole equation. She can't just do it alone. So she calls her cousin Delano Smith and asked him to go over to her mother's house. Now, just get him all involved into the situation. What if Delano Smith wanted a glass of Kool-Aid? He's going to open the refrigerator with his fingerprints, then pour the Kool-Aid in the glass with his fingerprints. Isn't that ridiculous? Because he doesn't know.
Do you want to touch hair? What about the light switch? You know what? I saw a fly over here. Can you touch right
Yeah,
there, please?
exactly. But she didn't. I don't think. But she didn't tell Delano because remember, it was the other cousin, Eugene Smith. So, so Delano called back after a period of time and told Antoinette that her mother was not answering her phones. The doors were locked and her car was in the driveway. Antoinette then went to the house and met Delano with her boyfriend. Now she's bringing a boyfriend into the situation. Oh my God. I know it's after the fact, but you don't want to be an accessory or look as if you are. You know what I mean? It's like, come on now. Her boyfriend's name is Mike Smith, by the way. She discovered that the back door was open, it was ajar, and she told Delano and her boyfriend to go inside. So soon thereafter, Delano ran out of the house and told Antoinette her mother was dead. The police were called and the three waited for them to arrive. Why did they wait for the police to come to arrest her? Why? Did she want to look like she's America's calmest criminals? You know how they do that? It's like, oh, I'm so concerned. I'm just going to leave myself
Uh,
right in the midst
I don't
of
know.
your.
Like that's so weird.
It is weird. It is weird. So yeah, now a pathologist, and it's really interesting here. A pathologist testified that the victim had been shot at close range in front of the right ear. I mean, that's actually this particular is about, how it happened. The victim was found lying on her back with her legs bent underneath, and the sharp, like a sharp, kind of like a sharp, they said downward angle of the wound. It suggested that she was kneeling when she was shot. So there was a 9 millimeter bullet that was recovered from
Like
her from the liquor.
execution style then.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. You just yeah, and that to me
Wow.
that is more that is a lot more intense and just heinous. I can never do something like that to my mother, but my God, to be executed and this is about to happen to you, and you're just looking like that barrel staring right down, just right at you, like boom. So her mother had internal injuries, of course. I mean, of course. Antoinette was questioned later that day at the police station. And you know what? She eventually admitted that she had solicited a close friend to kill her mother, but the police instructed her to call her friend. Now, to me, here's where the next twist comes in. Okay, I might even say the last twist, but this is where one of the biggest twists comes in because they told her, listen, get on the phone and call your friend, this mysterious person, right? She called him to tell him that she had the rest of his money and would be right over. But instead, the police went and arrested him. But that's not the crazy part. The crazy part is, well, she basically sang like a canary because what happened was she turned on him immediately under pressure. And of course, she never received the insurance money. But the reason why I'm saying this is crazy is because he made a threat to her that if she said, basically, this is what she did. Okay, let's kind of get into like when it came down to her sentence, there was something that her friend said to her that allowed her to get to lessen her time, to get a reduced sentence, like you and I had talked about, Kai, so many times. A deal. How they got to, offer you a deal, a bargain, and all of that. But yeah,
I hate
she
these
never.
deals.
I know you do. That's why I'm like, Kai's not going to believe this one. So yeah, so she didn't get the insurance money. She sang like a canary. She turned on him immediately under pressure. So Antoinette pled guilty to second-degree murder, but was allowed to withdraw her plea after she received 3 letters from the trigger man. That was the nail in the coffin, I would say, on this case. She received 3 letters from the trigger man that if she testified against him, her family would feel it. And let us be reminded, he never got paid that second allotment. So he's pissed right now. And and then
He's like, I did all this for you, and you didn't even give me my money.
exactly.
That's
I
why I
want
don't
my
trust people
money.
who ask you to do unscrupulous things like murder their mother.
Exactly. And she turned on him. So he said, if you testify against me, your family's going to feel it. I'm telling you, basically we're coming for your family, the rest of your family. I mean, the brother's in prison. You're not going to get him. But so on the eve of the trial, Antoinette was allowed to take the same deal and agreed to testify against the hired hitman. Can you believe that? So
Wow.
she received 20 years in prison. I would say that the motive, in my opinion, based on everything we've read and heard, is revenge against her mother. That's why we're titling this "A Mother's Revenge," and I mean, I'm sorry, "Daughter's Revenge," and also the insurance money which she didn't get, which is very common because a lot of times
Well,
these.
of course. I mean, if you're going to murder someone, you're not going to get the insurance money. And if you're going to murder someone and tell the entire town about it, then
Right.
I'm pretty sure the insurance company isn't going to be like, well, we have 30 witnesses here saying you were going to murder your mom. So here's the money.
Here's the money. Come, yeah. Well, but the thing is, Kai, I've noticed that quite often they don't get to the money because they get caught first. It's like, but she didn't even last for 10 minutes. I mean, she's singing like a bird, first of all, telling all her business. All the other witnesses, I'm sure, turned against her that were dragged into this, including the neighbor with a cup of sugar and a couple of eggs. I mean,
Well, I mean, you can tell in the first place she was just
dumber,
dumb.
dumber than a box of
Her
rocks.
every move was just dumb.
Yeah, dumber than a box of rocks. She didn't think this through very well. You know what? That's why it doesn't pay to allow your emotions to get the best of you when it comes to men or women and when it comes to relationships. And that is why we have become relationship experts over 5 years or so, at this point, almost 6 years. But, Kai and I, because of our experience with our previous successful radio show, No Conduct Radio, we have literally just been able to really answer questions and give good advice on relationships and like what not to do. And so, had Antoinette been around right now, we could have really helped this poor girl out and said, don't do it. Because honestly, I just feel like it's this people that don't have anyone to counsel them, to listen, to give them some advice, just no one to turn to.
I
Because
mean,
how
and
can you
on the
be
real
this?
though,
How can you be
on,
this stupid though? I don't understand that.
but like for real though, do you actually need somebody to tell you don't murder?
Yes,
Do you
yes.
really need
Apparently,
to
apparently,
talk
some
to
people
somebody?
do.
Do you really need to talk to somebody to say they're like, oh, well, I don't think you should murder your mom. Maybe just walk away. Do you really need somebody to tell you that? Because that's kind of like, you know, common
Kind of
sense
ridiculous. It's
known,
kind of
you
ridiculous,
know.
but that's why they say America's dumbest criminals. So there you are, guys. This is our story for today. Kai, do you have any final thoughts about this absolutely just all over the place case? That is just Ugh.